Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Impractical Machinist Podcast. My name is Patrick. You can find me on Instagram as @JobShockerTN.
And I'm Cameron from Machining is Cool. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we would appreciate a 5-star rating.
I'm Bradley with Marvel Machining. Also, if you're on YouTube, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to the Practical Machinist YouTube channel.
On this episode, we are joined by Aaron Morrill, the famous CNC repairman. Today, we're going to tap into Aaron's experience as an independent machine tool repair technician. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. Talk to some of you guys.
Thanks for coming on. It's really early where you are. It's what? Is it 5 now?
It's 6. It's not too bad.
6.
Most people are up early around here.
You recording before work?
Yeah.
Just knock out a quick podcast and then go fix some machines, I guess.
Yeah.
No, you can go save the day for some people.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to go save the day. I'm sure people are happy to see you coming.
Usually.
Usually. And then they're not happy sometimes. Still pissed off from the reason you're coming.
Right.
Some of both. It's usually they're bothered because they have a bigger problem. So like the machine's broke, but there are bigger problems than just the machine is broken.
I can see that for sure. Plus, you got the downtime, you got the repair, and then eventually they've got your bill.
Yep.
So I definitely understand that. So, I mean, Aaron, we've got a lot of questions from Instagram queued up for you. We'll try to hit as many as we can. Why don't we start just with this of, what exactly do you consider your job to be? What is it that you do?
It's kind of changing. I want to be sure that I'm relevant today and relevant in 2 years and in 5 years and 10. So that's important that I pay attention to what new equipment's coming out and what customers would want in the future so that I'm ready and trained. The same with our technicians. People who don't know me, I'll usually explain to them, they'll ask me what I do, and I say I run a few different businesses in the manufacturing sector. And that's usually easier to explain to somebody, and then you just, stop there, like they don't dig any further. But to break that down a little bit more, I run a small, if you don't know who I am, I run a small CNC repair company here in Spokane, Washington. So I took it over from my father just in January, legally, officially, the transition. But for the past 6-7 years, I've been running it together with him. And we specialize in just repairing any and all sorts of equipment in a machine shop. And then another division that we have, and we've started, is we sell replacement parts for very common machines, just because we found there's a need for it, and there's, a need for it at affordable prices. A lot of people who own an older machine don't want to be paying outrageous prices for simple replacement, kind of off-the-shelf parts. And the other kind of division or portion of the business that we run is an electronic repair division. So those kind of 3 divisions are all kind of under one, but it can be busy when you've got several customers of broken machines waiting for us, as fast as possible to fix them on site, circuit boards and amplifiers in-house to fix, and we got shipping daily and dealing with machine shops and vendors and anodizing and grind, so I've picked up a lot more in the past several years of this manufacturing space having other divisions of our company.
And do you travel or do you just stay local?
We do travel. I travel a fair bit, and so do our techs. So there's that as well.
Dude, you are busy.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's nuts.
How many guys you got working with you?
We've got, we're smaller now than we were. We had a guy who moved away to be closer to family, but we've got 3 technicians, 3 people in the office, some part-time people. And so it's mostly my dad and I and a couple of guys in the field, and then with main shipping person, a main inventory manager, and a bookkeeper. So and I run around. I'm on the phone all day, every day. It's fun.
It's good that you love it, because I don't think there's any way you'd be able to do it if not.
No.
Oh,
yeah.
No, that's a great example of if you love what you do, you won't feel like you're working.
Right. You seem like you get excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Like, it's a lot of hard work.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I wonder sometimes, I'm going to get a competitor, or someone's going to pick up an idea I have. I'm like, good for them, man. It's hard. Like, if you want to join me in this, like, please.
Take some load off of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could use a little relief.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Do you have any local competitors in HFO or any machine repair companies local, or is it just you in the area?
We're the only company in the area. There's like some electrical people who will try to fix
Yeah.
machines and they'll get stumped.
Mm.
There's a few other people online who do the electronic repair or sell parts, but good service, doing a good job, like, our name goes ahead of us. So it's not a problem of like not enough work. We don't really advertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, and I can attest. I think at my last job we bought a few parts from you for their old houses, or might have even rented a couple of tools from you one time. I can't remember, and it's all great. I mean, it's super handy to have that option. So, I mean, that was a great move on your part to kind of get. You're not just in this box of I fix machines. It goes beyond that.
Yeah. And it sounds like well, I want to say it sounds like you're diversifying, but it sounds like it's really out of necessity for what you're doing. Like there's obviously a need for parts. And yeah, aren't some of your parts modified from original,
Some of them are. I mean,
make them better?
that's the idea, but you can't make an aluminum part better than the previous aluminum part. It's just,
Yeah.
it's going to do its job until it wears out, or a brass wiper. It's going to do its job
Yeah.
till it wears out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of the tools that we sell, are made out of necessity. We're at a shop, we want to align a double arm or take something apart with an internal nut. So we build a tool to do it right then, and then I'll go, okay, how can we make this better? How can I make it cheaper? How can I sell it cheaper so that people can have one of these in their truck or afford to buy the tool to do the job?
Yeah.
Well, I know, again, at my last job, our maintenance tech that we had, he would, do some minor to moderate repairs on our machines every now and then. And like I swear, every other week, his name was Avery. He would come to me and he'd be like, "Hey, check out this thing that Aaron did." and he'd show me either like a tool that you had, or a post that you did. And so, you're certainly doing a lot of people a service by putting that stuff out there. Whereas I think a lot of other people in that world kind of keep everything to themselves. And it's one of them things that kind of holds everybody back in a way. Obviously, you want to be able to still have a need to come out there and fix someone's machine. That's your business. But it also kind of helps the community by having a resource for some minor stuff.
Definitely. I learned this from my dad. People would call our company, his company, ours, and they'd want us to come in and train their maintenance department. So, hey, can you come out? We want to pay you to train us so that we don't need to hire you. And a lot of people might look at that as a competition or something you don't want to do. We always do it, and we've always found it benefits us because the maintenance guy either leaves or screws it up worse.
Yep.
I get that.
Not to put the maintenance guy down, I always have great patience and great empathy for them because they're pulled in 100 directions. You don't have the same focus that we get to have when we show up and we're outsider looking at one problem. When you're a maintenance guy, you've got everything going on, and they don't really let you buy the nice tools you need and the nice parts, and just work slowly. So we don't see a day when you're not going to need somebody to come in and repair something. I don't see that.
Yeah. So just to kind of reel it back a little bit, I am curious how you actually got into it. I'm assuming your dad had the company growing up and you started working with him. What age did you kind of get into it?
From a very young age. So he started some of the history of our company and him is right out of high school, college. My dad was in the Bay Area, started working for Clausing. So he was doing installs with the Clausing rep. And then he started working with Selway, who's a West Coast machine tool dealer. And he worked for them until the 90s when my mom and him decided to move up Spokane out of California. So that was when he started his independent company. And he brought all the contacts and everybody that we knew. And so we've grown from the 90s in Spokane. And a lot of the work that we've done is for small shops, either guys who are part-time or small, one or two guys in their garage out back. And so growing up, I homeschool. I did a ton of work with him, and he just wanted to teach me, and we liked being together. I'm his only son. I have 3 sisters. And so I just, 6 years old, we'd drive to Montana and go fix somebody's machine. And I did that a whole bunch. And I did that when I was 8, when I was 9, and when I was 10. And I was probably under 10. HFO sold 6 VF3 SS machines. And like, I was 10. I could power up a machine, zero return it, change tools, jog the machine, level it. And like, he brought me with me, and he billed half of my time the whole week. And I cleaned all the Cosmoline, leveled all the machines, pulled all the shipping brackets off. I mean, I still know that shop, and I still go there, and I can laugh and say I installed those machines 20 years ago, 22 years ago. So that's
Wow.
I can tell you a machine from 2002, what changed between 02 and 03, because I was 8 years old doing the install on a machine that in that time frame. And I've been doing it a lot. We do a lot of work, so we learn a lot.
That's pretty awesome.
Holy cow, man, that's great.
Yeah, I feel like people tend to underestimate the capabilities of kids. Like even at 8 or 10 years old, I mean, being able to do all of that, I mean, it's insane that you're able to actually comprehend what's going on there and like understand how to level a machine and what that even means and that sort of thing. But no, I'm always impressed whenever you have kids that are like they have the ability to just run with it, and they can dive in as deep as they want to and really figure things out.
It's probably easier at 8 to level a machine than it is at 40. And so I'm sore trying to get off the ground, turning them damn nuts.
By far.
That's a good point.
By far.
Oh man,
God, I was trying to level my horizontal and I had to get under the machine and reach. And I was like, I'm just going to lay here for a few extra minutes.
I've talked about my first experience leveling a machine was here when I came to RBSA, and man, well, Aaron, what do you have any kind of trick other than just don't stop being a little girl? Of we have a horizontal here that's like 32,000 pounds, and I think it has seven leveling screws on it. It took every single thing I had to be able to move that nut like a degree. That's with a big crescent wrench and a cheater pipe. And I ain't the strongest guy in the world, but still, it's insane.
The past several years, I've gotten lazy. We have 2 porta powers and a toe jack. And
Oh, yeah.
we'll drive all the way to our office to get those and drive all the way back. Cause like
Nice.
that really can make a difference.
So do you just use that to relieve some of the weight
Yeah.
off of the?
Almost always the riggers have the screws all the way up or all the way down. Floor is crazy unlevel. The coolant tank doesn't fit, and there's nothing more fun than needing to move a machine down an inch and having to do it every screw, the whole thing.
Yeah,
When I leveled my pallet pool and my horizontal are 2 separate pieces, and my pallet pool was an inch too high, and I was doing them one by one, and there's like 12 on there. I'm like, this is dumb. I can't do this. And it was going to take, and I ended up just lifting it up and doing it in the air and then getting it close. So that made it a lot easier.
Man, oh man.
Do you have one of them Bluetooth levels where you can do you?
Yeah.
Are they nice?
They're nice. I have a couple of precision levels that are much more accurate. I still like the real bubble level.
Yeah.
The Bluetooth kind of feels fake, but I mean, here's a thing you may not have thought about. I just did a lathe a while ago. You got to hold your phone in the same orientation even when you walk around the back of the machine, or it all flips.
Oh.
oh man, you could get yourself in some trouble doing that.
Oh,
Yeah, so you set the level up, you set your phone, you zero it, but you can't like turn your phone from the front to the back of the machine. You got to keep it the same way, and then it saves a ton of time. I think the levels are $500. It's worth it if you have to do 2 levels.
Yeah.
I could believe that. I actually got a tip from someone, I think when we were working on leveling machines here, like, try to set up a phone or something to where it's looking at the level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And then, you can look at it remotely through another phone or a tablet or something where you can because that's the worst part about it. You got to tweak a little bit on the nut, and then get up and check it, and then get back down. Up and down and up and down, and oh
Or
my
you have two
goodness.
people.
Yeah, having two people would be ideal, and fortunately, that's what we had.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
give you a sneak peek on a video I plan on doing one day. How would you level a machine on a submarine? How would you level a machine on a destroyer or an aircraft carrier?
Go home.
Oh wow.
A-
Because
and
I mean, it's not really about level; it's about straight. But
Yeah.
how do you do that when everything's moving all the time? Huh.
Someone just called me, an apprentice who worked at a smaller machine shop who bought the old VF2 they had there, and they're like 2 hours away from us. And he wanted me to come out and ball bar and level the machine. And I met the apprentice. He's just out of high school. And I said, look, let's chat for 10 minutes on the phone. Like, we're expensive. And he said, well, we kind of rough leveled it. And I said, great. Everybody kind of has this stigma that you have to level a machine. It has to be perfect. And that can be true if you want perfect parts on a perfect machine. And if you're running like a mini mill or a tool room mill or a 1998 VF2 and you rough level it, cut parts. If the parts are bad, then deal with the level. So like level's fun and it's great to get it precise. But around here we have frost heave. So like if you have it on 2 pieces of concrete, it's going to be off. So I try to explain to people, what is your level of precision that you really need to hold? Don't go crazy over level. You aren't selling a level. You aren't selling a perfectly, you aren't making and giving your level away. You're making parts. So that's one thing I try to convince people when they say they have a problem. It's like, what's the problem on the part, not the problem on the machine?
So I guess really what matters more is just tramming the machine in, not necessarily getting it perfectly level.
That's one factor of it. And I explained to this apprentice, are you going to try to cut 8-inch interpolated bores that you want within 4/10, or are you just drilling holes in angle iron for fab work? So I could run a ball bar on a machine and I could see that it's out of level. The circularity in a 4-inch circle is 7/10. So I could tweak a leveling screw and probably get it to 6.5 or 5. But I'm pretty expensive for a couple hours of travel to do that. Was it worth that 2/10 to go from 7 to 5/10? Can you even measure that, or are you just fixing weldments and tractor parts and it doesn't matter?
That is a good point. Because, if you're doing mostly rough work, sure, ideally you want your machine to be perfect, but, well, there is no such thing as perfect.
Guys will call me on the phone. Several people have messaged me, I can't get the level on my mini mill. I'm like, dude, you have a weldment mini mill. Like, the twisting, the casting doesn't really twist. You've got one leveling screw in the air. Run them all down and cut apart. Complaining about his level, and he bought a way too precise level. It's a mini mill, dude. Like, I want to help you. I want you to be confident in your machine, but just walk away.
Kind of the mentality of like it's the archer, not the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you're working with. Like you said, what level of precision do you really need? You just have to look at the full picture, and as usual, it all depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most
Yeah. Gotta have it depends.
It all depends.
a zoom in or a zoom out mentality. Are you looking at it too closely?
And of course, machinists are prone to zooming in because that's what we're used to. We think in thousandths or tenths or microns if you're one of those people, and you don't really know anything else. But you're right. If your machine's not cutting straight, like a lathe is that way. I know. Sure, you can get your lathe level. That doesn't mean it's going to cut straight. One thing that I was curious about, Aaron, is, and these two questions kind of work together. The first one is, in your opinion, when should a company call you versus a technician from like a Haas factory outlet or Ellison Technologies or Morris or a devoted, machine tool distributor?
Well, if Aaron was in my area, I wouldn't call any of them. I'd just call him right away.
I mean, I agree. I'm just curious why.
There are times where an independent company is not the right answer. most definitely. Machine is under warranty. Machine has a software problem, a really difficult application or issue. The time we're calling an independent person is going to help you, the end user, is if you have a semi-simple solution or problem and you want somebody who's quicker, that you have a better relationship with, or you want to develop that relationship with. So when something breaks, they can be there right away and just give you a second opinion. There's a lot of newer equipment in the last 10 years where we just say no. We'll go look at it, we'll give them a second opinion, but hey, this spindle's 50 grand. This isn't a good job for us. So there are times where we've installed $50,000 spindles and we're just very careful and we go, look, we can't warranty the spindle. We can put it in the machine, but after that, you've got to talk to the rebuilder about it. So older machines, there's a lot of, say, dealers who don't want to work on any older machines. Part of it is their technician base is all young. And they're better off serving newer customers with newer equipment that are going to buy new machines than the small shop who's got one or two 25-year-old machines. You have to have a pretty forward-thinking mentality when you're a dealer to really give great service to a small company, knowing that you're building this relationship so that when that small company gets big, they then trust you to buy a new machine from you. So I'm getting sidetracked here. You wouldn't call me in Spokane, Washington, if you had a simple one-day job in Texas. It doesn't make sense to fly me out for a job like that. And I'm not really looking or excited for more simple service work across the country. Like, I got to develop a relationship with a shop. I've got to be sure they're going to pay me. I'm not going to just jump on a plane and fly somewhere with a bunch of tools to go fix a problem for somebody who I don't know if they're going to actually pay me. So that's a concern of ours and a concern of anybody who's thinking of starting a independent service company. How does the billing work? Do people pay? Do people not pay? How do they deal with parts? But if you're going to call us, I'm trying really hard with our YouTube channel and our Instagram you have a problem with your Haas machine, you call us. I want to, in 5 minutes, be able to tell you a video about how to fix your machine, tell you what part you need to fix your machine, be able to quickly diagnose it. That's kind of our goal. So you give me a couple of symptoms, I can say, watch this video to troubleshoot it and figure out what part it is, and it'll be one of these 5 parts or 6 parts, and here's the tools you need to do the job. I am not close to that. I mean, we got a long ways to go.
Well, with that being said, I got an RTC alarm on my VF3. What do I need to do? I'm just kidding.
It's a real-time clock. That's what RTC stands for.
Yeah.
It depends on what software version in your machine. Your battery could be low, or you could have like a CRC error, which means you may need to clear the memory and reinitialize it to get rid of that alarm. Does the alarm go away? Or you just may need to set the clock. I got to work on my clock video. Every version of Haas has a different way you set the clock.
Yep.
Huh.
And I was looking through the Practical Machinist forum, and somebody was saying to set the clock, but their instructions, I followed it. It wasn't right for mine. And I was like, what the hell? I can't do that. I just keep hitting reset every day.
Yeah. So
It's been about 6 months. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another 6 months, you'll get it fixed.
yeah.
I'm not
One-
there yet, but that's the goal we're moving towards, and we'll probably never reach it because on an aging machine force, you have new problems arising every year that are then happening all
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah.
That is a good point. I mean, as the machine tools get older, more and more things are going to develop. Huh.
And I love that the people call us because then I get to find out I've never seen this problem before. Oh, this will be fun. Let's figure this out. Then once we figure it out,
Oh,
the next person who calls, I can fix it in 5 minutes.
Then you feel like a genius. Like, I know exactly what this problem is.
right.
I've seen this before.
Well,
Yeah.
just like with what he just told Brad about the RTC thing. I mean, that's funny.
Where do you
And-
keep all this information? Do you got like a spreadsheet of you can just search this alarm and this code and
Not really. It's mostly experience. We have some software, like a CRM-based software that we use to manage our customers and machines. And we try to do a good job of, when we finish the job, naming the job in relation to the alarm or the symptom. so that we can then go back and search that symptom again and find our notes about it.
Nice.
You'll have to start like a CNC repairman hotline, $5.99 a minute.
Right.
It's
Man,
it's an interesting thought process. If you charge for phone support, you'll get less people who call you.
Oh yeah, I bet.
yeah,
So
I guarantee it.
it's a real fine line of like, I want to provide free, easy, helpful phone support so that people feel comfortable enough to call us. But then I'm on the phone and it's 25 minutes and this guy is not getting it and doesn't want to answer my questions or even try anything. He just wants to do what he wants to do. And then I'm just on the phone listening. And those I'm like, hey, there is a line where we have to start charging for phone support. And then usually that guy will go, okay, well, I'll figure it out myself. Okay, I hope you do. Like, you're in the wrong field, dude. Call us back later.
We have that problem here. The company I work for, Aaron, is kind of in the CNC tube bending industry. So they service and repair and refurbish tube bending machines and make tooling for them. And our owner is a whiz at that stuff. The electrical, mechanical, all that stuff. And I know that he gets wrapped up in that exact same thing because people call him because he's a genius at figuring things like that. But it's a time sink for him because he wants to help. That's his thing. And he wants to help people. But like you say, there's a time where, all right, I've been on the phone for 30 minutes with this guy. There's a whole lot. There's stuff stacking up that I should have been doing in the past half an hour.
Yep.
So I definitely understand that. And so leading into that, do you feel like machine tool technicians, whether they're independent or work for a distributor or whatever, work well together, or do you think there's like somebody from an HFO, for example, do they not like you because you're an independent guy? What do you think?
It very much depends on the personality and work ethic and kind of like whether or not you steal customers and leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth, sort of whether there's anger or distrust between dealers and independent technicians, or between independent technicians and independent technicians, or dealer techs and dealer techs, or different techs from different dealers. So there's some of both, and it's usually it comes from someone showing up, trying to do a job and not getting it done, and then they have to bring in somebody else. So whether that's independent tech first and then a dealer, or a dealer first and then an independent tech, and what usually just human nature, you want to throw the previous guy under the bus. Oh, he did this wrong, and like it does is make you look bad, bashing somebody else. So if you don't bash the dealer and you don't bash anybody else, usually people are going to be happy to work with you and happy to refer you. And it's like, tell somebody, hey, this isn't a good job for us. You should call the dealer. So I work really hard at building that relationship. And I've got a lot of relationships with other dealers, with other technicians, other independent techs. And I have heard some stories of bad cases. And it's like, man, why didn't you just shut your mouth, not say anything, come in, fix the machine, not throw the guy under the bus, not make yourself look good, and leave, make the customer happy, and there wouldn't be these bad feelings of and cease and desists and threaten to sue, and like just fix the machine at the most economical way for the customer and move on. It'll work out better for everybody.
Have you ever been in a situation like that where you've been called in second, you fix the machine, and you reach out to the previous guy and be like, hey, this is what I did to fix it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of the time, he really wants to know or wishes he could have had the chance to fix it.
Yep.
Uh,
That's what I figure. I mean, sometimes you're sharing information, you're helping out somebody that just didn't know.
yeah. Sometimes it's just we've left a job because we couldn't fix it. Like, hey, I'm not getting the support I need from this big OEM. I know there's a parameter and a keep relay, and I can't just guess at this for days. And so we'll tell the customer, hey, call DMG Morian, and I'll call the DMG Mori guys and go, look, this is the case, or the Mazak guys that I know in the area, and they have to like follow corporate policy, which is I can't talk to you, I can't help you, I'm supposed to not help you. It's like, I get that. Look, here's what I've done. I'll leave you my notes. Just to help the customer. And then they realize we're not in it for us. We're not in it to make them look bad. We're not in it to make us look bad. We just want to help the customers because that's what brings in more business for everybody.
Well, it's funny. I feel like the last few episodes we've had this recurring thing we've talked about of shops and businesses working together. And mainly like just machine shops in general. But it sounds like it's the same thing in the repair tech world. If everybody should be able to work together because the end goal is everybody having their own slice of the pie. And it's not until someone tries to screw someone over that you kind of have to start reevaluating that.
There's a analogy. It's like, do you think of the world as a single pie with getting smaller, or actually more pieces to a bigger pie? So if you think of it as, if I get a slice of pie, does somebody else get a smaller one? That's not the way I view the world. So there's plenty of work for all the independent techs and the dealers. Like me taking a job that somebody else wanted, or me giving up a job because I couldn't fix it or we didn't take it, doesn't give any less work for everybody.
Makes sense. Something I've been curious about. It's not related to anything we were just talking about. No, so obviously you go into a lot of shops. What are some of, and I always feel bad when I see people because like our shop isn't disgusting. We keep it fairly clean, but it ain't perfect. Coolant overflows sometimes and you can't clean it up underneath the machine in a certain area. And then like chips are stuck to the floor there. And then you guys got to go crawl in it. What is some of the nastiest stuff that you've seen in a machine shop?
One guy's shop, he had like 6 German Shepherds and they peed on everything. And like you just smell like dog pee when you leave. Like I think I came home and took a shower outside. I mean, it was awful. That was just, I don't mind coolant. I don't mind like scum, oil, grease, dirt, chips, but like it was just, I was in the back of the machine, hand underneath the y-axis, like just laying on the floor, and the dog like went around the back of the machine, is constantly peeing back there. That was pretty gross.
Oh man.
I mean, it was not nice.
When you first said 6 German Shepherds, I was just thinking of the amount of dog hair that you would have there.
Yeah, everywhere in the coolant tank.
Yeah. Everything sticky's just got dog hair stuck to it, I'd imagine. Yeah. That's rough.
That was,
I don't know. I mean, is that worse than a shop where people are peeing in the coolant?
He doesn't have to dig
Thing too. I've heard of that. Huh?
He's not digging in the coolant tank.
Yeah. I don't know.
I've heard of that.
I don't think you would get home smelling like pee.
I've heard of people spitting in tanks too. It's just
I've seen a lot more chew in tanks than I've seen pee. I mean, it has to be a pretty nasty place if the employees are peeing in the coolant tank. I mean, that's like you must hate your job. Like, go get a different job.
Absolutely.
I've heard of it in the shops that are just big shops where the bathroom is like across the shop and they don't want to walk.
I mean, if you,
go out a door and piss in the driveway or the parking lot,
right?
or get a bucket.
Or bring your depends.
Yeah, no, that's rough. That was not the direction I thought that was going to go.
Oh,
No.
Dogs peeing all over the shop. That's
Oh,
bad.
That's
What are
funny.
some of the cleanest shops you've seen? I mean, like, how clean can a shop really get? That's what I've always wondered. Because you have some of these places where, like, they'll, every week or once a month or something, like, wipe down the tops of the machines and like sweep underneath the machines all the time and stuff like that. Like, how clean can a shop really get?
I think there's like this level where if you're more interested in keeping your shop clean, you actually don't make parts.
Yeah.
So like, I've been in some pretty immaculate machine shops, but like it's sad because they're not pushing the machine. They're not using it to its full potential. It's more like, oh, that's our clean machine over there in our clean room.
Yeah.
I got to tour the Renishaw factory over in the UK, and that was probably the cleanest shop that actually did well production.
Huh.
Yeah, Renishaw has some
I-
But
cool stuff that they've implemented in their machine shop.
like what?
Backward stuff. There are no garbage cans in the shop. There are no workbenches and no surfaces to put anything. If a part is on the floor, it's scrap. If you drop a part, it's scrap. No calipers, no tools. There's like 3 Allen wrench sizes in the whole machine shop for fixtures or tooling, and that's the only wrench that you can have. And the wrenches stay in the tooling or fixture booth, and you don't check anything on a machine ever. The machine probes it. If it's bad, it cuts a line in the middle of the part, and when it comes off the machine, you throw it on the ground or in the scrap bin. So like no calipers, no mics, no tools, no surfaces, no garbage cans.
Damn.
Interesting.
That's incredible.
It's
Wow.
And you only design things in engineering that fit their taps, their drills, their tooling, and their fixtures. You can't design something that doesn't fit what they make.
That's really neat.
They are
Yeah.
I mean, I will say it, like anything that I've gotten from Renishaw has always been like top notch, immaculate, and it's always made sense. It's always like, M6 or M8 threads for everything. So that makes, I mean,
No,
I
that's
can
what
see
makes
how they got there.
yeah. It was
Well, I specifically bought some quarter 20 stuff. So
that's the strangest, weirdest outlier shop I've ever been in.
yeah, that is weird, but I mean, obviously it works for them, and I feel like in a scenario like I have a hard time seeing how that could work in like a job shop.
Sure.
That doesn't seem practical. One thing I am in favor of is not having a bunch of surfaces to put things on, because, well, we all know exactly what happens when you have that. Then you end up just putting stuff everywhere, and it sits there forever, and then you forget about it, or somebody's like, "Oh yeah, that's over in that on top of that toolbox behind that one machine. That's where it's at." And it's like, why is it there? I'm like, I don't know. I was using it and put it down there and forgot about it.
Yeah.
So I am in favor of that. However, you can't not have any surfaces in a job shop, at least.
For sure.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really cool. Do you guys want to ask some of the questions that we had sent in?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to move on. I'll pick one out, and then you guys can pick a couple out. So we'll start with this one. PDW 315 asks, "What's the worst crash you've ever had the pleasure of making right again?"
Got one on Monday. I don't know how bad it is yet. Guys texted me yesterday. Crash a sub spindle, won't transfer parts. How soon can you get here? There's probably the worst crash that I heard about and was here. I just didn't do the job. SL40 that they full rapided, full travel into the big chuck that was spinning into a hard jaw. Broke the hard jaw, broke the end of the ball screw off in Z, broke the trucks in Z, broke the trucks in X, and wrecked the spindle and wrecked the gearbox.
Wow.
Whoa!
So at what point do you just total a machine? Because to me that sounds like we should probably just call it quits on this one.
Several of our shops I've worked at will turn that into insurance. So, they're going to want to quote and then they're going to want to fix it. You've got a lot of times it's cheaper to repair than it is to buy new when you factor lead time, rigging, electrical, tooling, and training.
Right, yeah.
So, if you can fix a machine for 40% of the cost and in 3 weeks, that's better than buying a new one.
Yeah, that's a good.
Especially when you got insurance that's covering it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So I got a question. I'm gonna go off of that because I got insurance on my machines, mechanical breakdown coverage, and it seems like a lot of people don't know about this. Have you dealt a lot with insurance companies or?
A little bit. From my business standpoint, I dislike it because I go somewhere and the guy goes, "Oh, well, insurance is going to pay you," and I go, "No, I do the work for you. You'll owe us the money." No, the insurance, no. Well, the insurance is going to have to wait. Okay, you issue me a PO and I'll do the work for you. So there's only a few people who are like that I recognize, and we're going to deal with them. I'm just old school, like, save your money, like, deal with your own problems. Like, I understand catastrophic lightning strikes, building catches on fire, but like, I know people who nickel and dime their insurance over, a chuck actuator or, an alignment or the vector drive. And it's like, dude, you do know you pay every month for that and they're going to raise your insurance. And then one guy's like, yeah, they won't cover us anymore. It's like, quit nickel and diming them. Just pay your bills and move on.
Yeah, I've used mine once, and I didn't even know if they would have covered it. My spindle motor went in my VF2. I had a local company rebuild it, and I sent the bill in like 6 months. I totally forgot I even had the insurance, but I'm just gonna set it and see what they do. And they were cut me a check for it, but I'm in the same boat. It has to be catastrophic, and that's why I have it. Is if it's gonna be something that damn near totals out my machine, that's what it's there for. I mean, I've bought replacement parts and don't even think about sending it in.
See, so it's kind of like health insurance in a lot of cases. It don't do you a darn bit of good unless you have like a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
So I need to try to recommend that to my previous employer because I have so many old houses. Although it might be like if you try to get health insurance with a pre-existing condition, it's like getting health insurance when you've had diabetes for 20 years. But like, I think it's just a couple years ago they had to replace the gearbox on their VF3, and that was like $13,000 on a machine that you might could sell for 30.
Yep.
So, but they did it, and from what I heard, they may have to do it again here soon. So that's very interesting. Brad, do you want to pick out a question? Sorry, before we continue, Aaron, were you guys able to fully like refurbish that SL40
With new parts? Yeah. It
Wow.
just time and money. But most things are possible with time and money.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Brad.
Lil Chirpings, what is the most expensive machine you've worked on? I know you said you go in sometimes with a new machine and you just say no, but what is the most expensive machine?
There's like two classes because you have new machines that are expensive and then you have old machines that are expensive to replace. As far as like new machines, I installed a bunch of new Kitamuras and they were one of them was a Bridge 6. So that's like a $600,000, $700,000 brand new machine. And I'm there from day one when they take it off the truck till the customer is trained and is fully satisfied. I've showed him and I've done a good install. So that's an expensive new install machine. There's a machine here in Spokane. It's an Ingersoll Ram bridge machine that has over 100 feet of travel.
Damn.
Hydrostatic table, There's another machine that's a 30-foot VTL. There's another machine here in Spokane that is couple big bridge machines that have 30 or 40 feet of travel. I mean, just the foundation under that machine is $1 million.
Right.
So that's $10 million machine. I had to pull the whole head off, the gibs out, fix some oil stuff inside, but the gibs for the quill. From an outsider standpoint, and when I've hired new technicians, they're concerned, even me at the very beginning. Oh, it's an expensive machine. And now I just look at it like the person has a problem and they need help. So like that just kind of like sets the tone down where you're not worried. It's like, okay, I'm just going to one thing at a time until I figure out where I think the problem is. I'm going to fix the problem. I'm not freaked out about how expensive it is because that'll just psych you out and you can't do your job.
At the end of the day, a machine's a machine. Someone built it. It can come apart. It can be repaired.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess it's almost like processing a part, in our world. It's like, yes, this is a very large, daunting part or job or whatever, but just like you eat an elephant, you don't eat it in one bite. You got to do it one bite at a time. I mean, those machines sound amazing to even be around.
Yeah. I mean, a 30-foot VTL.
It's like
Imagine a 30-foot table.
It's a piece of real estate, like the size of my house.
Yeah.
That somebody could put an Airbnb on that thing.
What RPM you like? Are you even at 1 RPM if you're turning it like 30 feet, like 28 feet? Like imagine turning something at like 28 feet. What's your SFM going to be? Like, what's like 450 SFM?
Hold on. I'm working on it.
I'd probably stand on the part and just walk like I'm in a circus.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't post it on Instagram though.
No.
Somebody would
We lose them.
happy.
Definitely put that one on Facebook.
So 400 feet per minute on a 28-foot diameter is 4.5 RPM.
Wow.
Damn.
It's slow.
Now you know. You need to rough some
I
steel.
guarantee you it doesn't
Not
look slow.
28. Yeah.
That's what's amazing on a. I mean, I haven't been around a lot of big stuff like that, but I mean, even even on a rotary table, if you're machining a part that big and you're feeding it whatever, it doesn't look that bad. But when you get out to a part 12-inch diameter, 15-inch diameter, it changes. Wow.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question from, I guess he's one of our resident. Well, I don't know if I'd call him a repairman. Maybe our resident applications guy.
Yep.
Whatever you want to call him. He's a smart guy. He's on Instagram. He's Possum Solutions. I don't know if you've seen him before, but he makes a lot of his own, camera equipment and stuff. Anyways, he was asking what your thought process is whenever you begin to troubleshoot something or diagnose a problem. Like you have a certain order of operations or method to the madness whenever you walk up to a new problem.
Oh yeah. There's like step 1 and step 2 and step 3, and if you don't do some of those at the beginning, you'll be kicking yourself because you may have found the problem in those original steps. So like a good example, machine doesn't function correctly. Sometimes it doesn't turn on. It does things weird. Like things aren't working right. First thing you do is check the power and check the phasing. And if you don't do that, you'll waste your time. Somebody just called, quick side story. Our iron worker doesn't work. Oh, okay. We hired this guy. He came out and said it was the pressure switch. Okay. I'm on the phone with him. There's a new customer. He got our name from another customer. Can you fix this? I said, yeah, we'll come look at it. Are you experts and certified on Piranha iron workers? No, but we work on a lot of equipment. And I said, what's it doing? Well, the guy now says it needs a new hydraulic motor, and it was all working one day, and just now it doesn't work. And I don't think it's the motor. I don't trust the guy anymore. I said, okay, well, does it function at all? Is it a foot switch? No, I'm too busy. Come fix the thing. And so I said, well, why don't you check the phasing and the power? No, something wrong. The guy says it's the motor. I want you to come check the motor. So I texted one of our technicians, Matthew. He's sharp tech. I didn't even tell him anything. I just said, hey, Piranha iron worker, if you're done early, can you go look at this? And called the guy back. He can come in an hour. Oh, he was so excited. Our tech goes there. I didn't even talk to our tech. I just texted him the address, said, go look at this machine. Text me 10 minutes later. Phasing was wrong. Fixed it.
Oh, man.
I worked on a bandsaw. Every time they pushed the down button, the head would go up. And you can't power feed the bandsaw down if it doesn't go down. And me and the other tech were there. We're looking and we're looking. And we can't figure out why the solenoids are backwards and why is it moving up when it's supposed to go down. And we turn the saw on, the blade's running backwards. Somebody ran over the plug for the cord and rewired it backwards. So we always, you walk in with your voltmeter. I don't care if you have a chatter problem on your machine. I'm going to go around back. I'm going to check the voltage. Because what if the voltage is low? Or what if it's dropping out? Or a lot of times I'll see burned connections on the main breaker. And wiggle the wires and the wires arc. Seen that a bunch from heat. So that's a step 1. If you have a tool changer problem, there are different steps. If you have a finish problem, there are different steps. If you have an intermittent problem, that's hard. You have to make a list of what you think your highest probables are, your most expensive, your least expensive, and then kind of figure out which one is most likely, which one might be cheapest, which one could I swap axes, could I do something? So there's processes, but it changes per machine and per problem.
Right.
You know what that sounds like to me?
Big ol' it depends.
That's kind of become our catchphrase, Aaron. Because everything in machining is just, it depends.
It depends.
And sounds like the same thing with your line of work.
Yeah.
But that's very valid. You do, especially when you're an independent outfit, it makes total sense that you have to cover your bases because you don't know how the machine was set up. It might have been some jackwagon yahoo that set the thing up sideways and left-handed, and that might be the root of everything. But you don't know that until you check it. Let's see. I'll pick one out here. We'll go for kind of a light one here. So this is from our friend Zeke, Zeke RM on Instagram. How many parts do I need to order to get a T-shirt?
The reason we took the T-shirts off the website is because I technically have to charge sales tax if we sell non-machine parts. So we were like, let's just not hassle with it. Just email us, we'll ship you one. I mean, I can't do that for everybody, but Zeke, send me one. If I've got one in stock, I buy like T-shirts twice a year, and we just give them away until they're gone. So
You need to just sell like a bag of 10 socket head cap screws and you get a free shirt.
there you go.
Yeah, like vice jaw mounting screws or something.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A quick question for you or people listening: Would anybody like a medium or large size poster with our logo with some funny stuff on it? Like, you don't need a bigger hammer in your shop. I thought if people might like putting a poster up in your shop like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would.
I'd hang it up, like right here. The episode.
You don't need a bigger hammer. You make one that says it depends.
It depends. So the whole story behind that logo and that phrase, I was working on a Matsuura vertical with a pallet changer, and there was a problem inside the double arm cam box. And inside the cam box, there's all these cam followers and bearings. And one of those bearings, the race cracked. And I had to pull the whole cam box off of the machine, the double arm out, and get everything apart. And I'm on the phone with Matsuura, and the Matsuura guy goes, well, you could try to beat that pin out, but it hits the casting, or you could like get a cutting wheel and cut the casting. And so I was like, well, before I cut the casting, in this cam box, I'm like, I'm going to try. And I had to have like a 8-inch punch held at an angle, and I'm up on top of the machine having somebody hold the punch. And I had this huge, like 8-pound maul, like a 3-foot handle, and I'm beating on this pin to get it out. I have a picture somewhere of it. And somebody was like, yeah, I guess you do need a bigger hammer. And I thought about that, and they took a picture of me. I'm up on this machine with this big old hammer. And I was like, all right, let's come up with like a phrase and a logo, saying that you don't need a bigger hammer, but because I do, like I'll show up with the bigger hammer. But that's kind of the story behind our phrase.
For someone buying a used machine, CNC or anything, what red flags should they be looking for before purchasing?
I've got a couple of videos about it, like to go watch that are really in depth. I think people don't recognize that buying the machine is not the most expensive part of it. And so I'm always concerned talking to people who want to get a machine. Don't spend all your money on the machine. And don't buy a machine that you can't afford to fix, or buy a machine and don't have money to fix it, because then you might as well not bought the machine.
Yeah.
Someone just messaged me. They were looking at a used lathe, and it was like an oddball lathe. And it was kind of a small machine. It was like an auction. And he's like, hey, do you think this is a good deal on a good machine? And I said, I think you're going to outgrow it in a year. Can you ROI in 6 months to a year with the parts that you have now with it? And he's like, well, you answered my question. Yeah, I probably shouldn't get it. So all the time, some customer of ours buys a machine, and in the first few months, the spindle drive blows or the spindle goes out, or they need a new hydraulic unit. And they bought the machine for $5,000 and the repair is $10,000. And I try to walk them through, can you make enough money in the next year on this machine to fix it? Like to afford this bill? And they're like, oh yeah, make $40,000 a month off of that machine. No brainer. Okay. Buy 2 more of them. But Are you trying to scratch to get work, and now you got to pay for an expensive repair that you're going to sink 10 grand in a machine you paid 5 that's not worth 15 now that you put 10 into it? No one's going to buy it. And could you have just spent 15 on a newer, better machine?
Yep. Is there a brand that you'd recommend buying a used machine that's more repair friendly for somebody trying to get into something on a budget?
Anything one that's still in business and still answers their phone. Yeah. You don't want to buy something that's from a company that's out of business, that they don't stock parts for or still support. I mean, I can list a bunch of brand names to avoid. I can list a bunch of brand names to go. I mean, you don't want to buy something where there was only 100 of those machines made or 10 of those machines made.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Because, I mean, if you buy an old Haas, you can get plenty of parts, plenty of service, whether it be through an HFO or through someone like you. But if you go and, well, we have two, actually, Aaron, you and I were talking about this the other day. We have two mills made by Feeler. One is a methods feeler. The other is, I don't know what it is. It's not a methods feeler. And we've had a hard time getting information. We've gotten a little bit of stuff like the methods feeler. I don't believe methods does feeler anymore. So, we can get information from them, but as far as actual service, it would probably have to be someone like you. So keep that in mind. Because we do have some issues with both of them. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If it's a fairly common machine, you'd probably be all right. If it's not, you kind of playing a gamble there.
Are there any machines that you get a call for and you're like, yeah, we're booked out like 6 months?
Usually I try to have a conversation convincing them that it might not be a good business decision to hire us. My dad has a saying that I tell people: we'd rather have you mad at us than be mad at us and owe us $10,000.
Eh.
Yeah, that's not a good position for you to be in or for us.
Yep.
A long story short, we did a job on an EDM machine 20 years ago. Told the customer, this is going to be really expensive. We have no idea how long it will take and what it will cost. And this was 20 years ago. $14,000 later, we fixed it. And the customer said, well, if I would have known it would have been that much, I wouldn't have done it. We kind of have a now, not a policy, but we pay attention to it. If we're on our second week of a job, we go have a conversation and go, here's what the bill's at. Like, do you want to stop now? And then the next week we go, here's what the bill's at. Do you want to stop now? And it might be not 3 solid weeks of work, but we're there for 2 days, we order parts. We're there for 2 days, we order parts. I just did a job on an older machine, and bill was like $17,000. Bearings, ball screw, cylinders, bunch of parts and labor. And we were at about 7,000 or 8,000 into it. And I went and talked with the owner, and he goes, well, Aaron, a new machine's $500,000. So if I'm at 10% of a new machine, like that's a good deal for me. And it kind of reset my mind. Like, oh, okay. Like, this is expensive for me. I would never do this. But his mindset is new machine's $500,000, 50 grand. It's cheaper than a new machine and faster.
I mean, I look at things like that too. Sometimes when something happens, is it worth fixing it? And then I look at how much has this machine made? If I fix it and I can continue making that money, that's a factor I got to look into too. But I mean, a $500,000 machine, $17,000 isn't much.
It's a lot of money when you're, thinking of it as like cost to you personally, but no, it's just a business expense and they move on.
Yep.
Right. Well, as long as
a $500,000 machine's probably making $17,000 a day.
Yeah.
So
that is true. I mean, there's kind of a scale to that of like, okay, if you got a $50,000 mill and it's going to cost you $15,000 to fix it, that's one thing. And even at that may make total sense. But yeah, when you get into something like that, if somebody, crashes like a Mazak Inacrax or a Akuma Multus, and it's going to take 50 grand to fix it, it's still probably worth it because it's a high-dollar machine. It's doing high-dollar work.
So do you have machining experience? Can you get in a machine and program, set up, and run something?
Not 100%. No.
No?
I can't do service work every day and be good at service and do machining.
Yep.
That's kind of my like say to myself, I can't. I want to. I'd like to. We have a knee mill and an engine lathe in our shop. I grew up machining on both those, so I can, I'm a decent manual machinist, but not great. I can thread a part. I can set up and fixture and make a part in a knee mill or an engine lathe. We have a VF2 and a TL here. Most of my programming experience or like knowledge of programming is troubleshooting somebody else's programming. So like I can read G code, I can read M code, So like a quick problem I fixed several years ago. This guy had his weird post, which was outputting the C-axis brake between every move on this integer move. And like, he was like, how'd you figure that out? I was like, I just read the code and saw a bunch of M60. I don't remember what the M code is on a Haas to clamp the spindle. But so that's my area of expertise. I have a bunch of parts outsourced because I found that like all the replacement parts we sell, it's easier to just take it to a shop that's into production, that has new machines, that's cheaper than some slow job shop to make some of these parts.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I was going to say, do you outsource your repair stuff or do you do them in-house? So you answered that.
Good to know. Huh. And that makes total sense because, I mean, realistically, service and repair is your wheelhouse.
Yep.
It'd be just a huge, like, stretch to be able to add to machining to that, whereas instead you could find a place that already machines and have that done. So that, man, let's see, we've got 3 questions left. We're doing real good. This one is from Vic_Desky. What machines are the hardest to get realigned after a bump or crash?
Let's talk about lathes first, but definitely a Haas. Definitely.
Really?
Oh yeah. As far as mechanical, definitely a Haas. Now there might be some other machines that have a lot of software and are complex in setting the numbers correctly, but Haas makes a really cheap lathe. I mean, cheap. So you compare it to an older Daewoo, which is a Doosan, or an older Mori, you bump one of them, tweak the spindle, move the turret on center, you're aligned. You might need to, play with the curvic coupling a little bit and reset the X home position. But a Haas, you've got the spindle could be crooked, the wedge could be crooked, the turret box could be crooked, the tailstock can be crooked, the rails could be bent. I mean, and they all build on each other. And if you get to the end of a point and the spindle won't move anymore, you got to start all over again and move it all this way and start over again.
I mean, I have seen that because, my last job we had all Haas lathes and they got bumped, and it doesn't take much. We had like a 2001 SL30, which had the HL style turret. Just had the weird like round shank with a thread on the end, and I swear, Aaron, because it was an SL30 big bore, so it had a 15-inch chuck, and then that tiny little, bubblegum turret. I swear you could sneeze on that blasted thing and it'd get out of whack. And it got to the point where we never bothered to fix it because it really would get out of whack just from like heavy cutting, which a 15-inch chuck machine should be made for. So yeah, and that's why it's $3,000-$4,000 for Haas to come in and line your lathe up because they really do have to start from the ground up.
Just don't crash your lathe.
Just don't run your lathe.
Yes.
Honestly, just
do as I do. Don't run it.
Just make your round parts in a mill. BAU.
Yes.
Oh,
there's no
man.
need for round parts or a lathe.
That answer really surprised me, Aaron. But Thank you for that. Leading into that, Pigeon Cloud actually asked us something kind of specific, if you don't mind answering this, because this is something directly to help him. He said his lathe is turning oval parts, and he gave us a little context. He said his lathe, I can't remember if he specified what, but let's assume it's like a CNC turning center. His lathe is turning parts 5 to 8 tenths out of round, even close to the chuck. Where would you start with something like that?
I would probably want to see how he's measuring it. Qualify the out of round measurement. Is he checking it in a cm? Is he checking it with a bore gauge, or does he have a really tight fit, or is he just miking it? Not all the time, but many times someone has a problem. They have this tunnel vision, they zoom in on it, and it's not the machine. So let's quick sidetrack. Could we put a different material on a different part, cut the same size bore in it with the same tooling or different tooling, and would it work? That's a troubleshooting step. Oval parts are tricky because they're usually not a machine alignment problem, right? Because you're spinning the part. So it's usually, is there stress? Is this a casting? Oh, that's the first question. Is the part pre-stressed, or is there stress relieving that's happening to the material before or after the cut? And the other question is, how is he holding it? Is he ID holding it, OD holding it? I don't know how big the part is. In the case that I have seen a spindle cut an oval part is usually when the spindle bearings are bad or the spindle is loose and it's slopping around. So we could pull the chuck off, put an indicator on the nose of the spindle, and you can put like a crowbar against it, and you're going to try to pull and push and move side to side and see if you can get the nose of that spindle to move and see if the spindle's loose. But it's an interesting question because it's a hard question that most people don't like answering or getting to the bottom of. It could take a whole week. We have to cut a bunch of parts. We have to get a different chuck. We have to try different material, different tooling. That's in the realm of, if you said oval 2 thou, pretty easy to find. But
Sure.
oval 5 or 6 tenths, it's going to be a bit more to figure it out.
I mean, that could just be part changing.
Right.
From
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, when you ask, I don't do much turning, but I just can imagine that thing spinning. You're not going to get an oval if it's spinning unless something is moving, like you said, with stress or it's just how he's checking it.
I can attest. In the past, when we ran production on a DS30Y, and we were running some rings on this part, thousands of these stupid aluminum rings that were. They had, I think the OD was like plus or minus 5 tenths, and they were not staying around off the machine, but that didn't matter. The customer knew that as long as they measured good on the bar before they were cut off, it was fine. But even at that, we had some trouble with just the parts as they are being round, just drilled, bored, turned, and measured. And a lot of what I trace that back to was, even though we were using bar liners or spindle liners, the little bit of wiggle, because a lot of you're talking like 3-inch bar, 2.5-inch bar in a 3-inch spindle, which has 50 thousandths or so clearance, or a spindle liner that's got 30, 40 thousandths of clearance, because we just use the cheap Haas liners. That little bit of wiggle, and then running, 2,000, 2,500 RPM at the chuck can give you problems like that. There were times it's funny, you could tell as the bar got shorter.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, exactly. As the bar got shorter, you could tell a difference, because it would start out like 4 or 5 tenths out of round, and as you got to the middle of the bar, it'd be 3 tenths, and then when you got to the end of the bar, it'd be 1 to 2. Actually, on the SL30 I was just talking about, it was the same way. That machine almost ran nothing but aluminum pins that were 3-inch stock, turned down to 2.974, about 5.5 inches long. And of course, again, 15-inch chuck that that machine ran hard its whole life, running up to 2,000 RPM and down and up and down, literally millions of times. And you could tell on it too, because from, you know, I think a 52-inch bar is what we started with. The first pin would be a thousandth or a thousandth and a half out of round. And then the next pin would be a thousandth and 2/10 out of round, and then a thousandth. And then eventually it got down to where the last couple pins were, round within a few tenths. And there's a lot that goes into that, man.
It wasn't a machine problem, it was a setup problem.
Right.
More or less. I mean, like a better spindle liner or a better quality material coupled with a better spindle liner probably would have helped a lot. I mean, for Christ's sake, the spindle liner that's in the SL30 is just, it's a 3.5-inch bore, 3-inch rod. It's a piece of 3-inch schedule 80 or a 3-inch schedule 40 pipe that's been just cut down the middle and pressed into the spindle. Bunch of yahoos.
It'll work.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, that I believe. Oh, there's one more. If you guys want to get to this last question we have, it's a little more personal, and then we can do Aaron's tip.
Sounds good.
Do it.
All right. Connor Manufacturing says, I would love to hear some dad/husband advice.
I don't know that
On
I'm
the
on the spot.
Yep.
Something I started like 6 or 8 months ago. I've been doing it a while. I'm on my phone all day, whether it's helping our techs or answering the phones for customers or whatever. And it's like hard to get off of that because it follows you. So I just get home, I leave my phone in the car until usually like 9 o'clock. I'll check it at 9. And then and so I've told a lot of my friends, if you need something, just call my wife because her phone's on. So
Yeah.
So that's helped me just kind of totally be present at home because I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. She was up half the night last night, so I was up early this morning. And that's something, man, it's hard to just when you're running hard and you got all these projects going, it's hard to worry, or it's easy to worry, and it's a lot easier to be like, I gotta work. And so it's harder just to slow down and be like, you know what? We got cash in the bank. If this project delays 6 months, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Realistic, like both father and dad advice is use the time you got now to do what you want. Like the work projects can wait, and that's even hard for me to remember that as well.
Something I've said before is as a dad or husband, whatever, going to work is the easy part. You're just kind of built to do that. Go to work, solve problems, work hard, figure things out. That's the easy part. Getting home and turning that off, putting that away, and actually paying attention to everybody that's at home, which matters way more than anything you got going on at work. That's the hard part.
Yep.
It is.
That's part of why I started coaching. We've talked about this a few times. I coach sports all year round, but before I'd just stay at work. I wasn't worried about going to practice. I was so busy at work, but now it's family is more important. I will drop what I'm doing to make sure I'm at a game or a practice. I mean, I have to be now that I coach, but when I'm there, it's family time. I don't care if a customer calls me.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting a separate phone for work so you can leave it at work?
I have, but we've had technicians who work for us who had 2 phones. It's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
I wouldn't
care.
want to carry 2 phones.
No.
I wouldn't want to do that.
One's bad enough.
Right? Yeah, one's bad enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife deals with it owning a salon. Customers are always texting, calling. It'll be a Sunday and she won't respond, and they're pissed off. You didn't respond fast enough. What do you? And I got her a second phone, and she just leaves it at work now, so she doesn't bring it home.
Yeah. Well, see, and it's funny because, all right, that's a recent thing, well, Brad, you remember, because you're old. It didn't used to be that you could just instantly get a hold of people at a moment's notice. Even 10 years ago, or certainly 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you couldn't do that. If you had to call your well, your barber or your hairstylist to get an appointment, you had to call the landline that was at the facility, and if it was outside of working hours, you just had to wait till 8 or 9 in the morning and call them when
But
they're open.
I
It
wouldn't
ain't
mind going back to that.
I know.
More cell phones, just landlines. I'll call you when I get there.
Yeah.
I have a landline for my shop, and that's what is listed for Marvel. So it's rang a couple times here. I'll look at it. I'm like, I'm not gonna answer that. Don't
Voicemail.
care. Yep,
Yeah.
voicemail.
If it's that important, to leave a voicemail.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's where all the Walking Wednesday calls go.
It's your walk-in Wednesday mailbox.
Yep.
Oh, man. I feel like we got like a bonus tip right there,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
With staying off your phone when you get home, I found this thing. It's called Aro, ARO. It's an Aro box. I want to say it's like $8 a month. I mean, it's the concept makes sense. Saying I pay $8 a month to stay off my phone sounds dumb, but it's more effective than just putting my phone down somewhere. So it's this box. You put it anywhere in your house. You plug it in the wall, and when you put your phone inside of it, it knows that your phone's in there, and it silences your notifications. You can't hear it. Everything's quiet, and it also tracks your time in there. And so it turns into like a competition between me and my wife to see who can leave it in there the most throughout the week. And you don't buy the box; you just pay the $8 a month, and then if you don't want it anymore, you send it back. So that part's
Cool.
kind of nice. But yeah, it's kind of like a positive reinforcement thing. So now it's like, oh, I've got an hour and a half on there today. I bet I can get 2 hours. Let me throw it in there. Get another 30 minutes. And like obviously the phone's put away, so you're not spending your time on the phone. You're spending the time just doing whatever it is around you. Whether that's hanging out with the kids or working on something around the house or just getting chores done. Because those phones are addicting.
Yeah. I do really I've been trying to utilize it more. I'm sure Samsung has it, but iPhone has the Focus app
Yeah.
or the Focus built into it,
Yeah.
where I'll just put do not disturb. If my phone's in my pocket and it buzzes, I'm gonna look at it. I'm just tempted to see what it is. But if I turn that on and my phone doesn't buzz for 3 hours, I almost forget I have it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can set up modes, so I can have like sleep mode, work mode, all that stuff, and you can customize what it can and can't do.
Yep.
I've thought about getting a flip phone. Have you seen the new flip phones they have? They'll still have like Google Maps and stuff on them.
Oh,
But it's very basic. It's Google Maps and maybe your email and obviously call and text. But it's a flip phone. They're like $60. I think Cat makes it. It's like $60, and it's just simple.
You just need to have someone else set up your screen time, not tell you the password, and give you hours, so it's just
Right.
blanked out.
Yeah.
Shit, I need to get in there. I don't know the password.
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
But yeah.
Imagine going back in time and explaining that concept to someone 20 years ago. Like there's actually a service that you subscribe to
stay
keep
off
your
your phone.
to stay off your phone. How
What I mean, like saying, yeah, I pay $8 a month to stay off my phone sounds kind of dumb, but it's a lot more effective
Oh
Sam's
yeah,
gonna be
just putting it down.
you're
absolutely.
gonna be in a phone group. You're gonna go talk to a group of people about your addiction to phone.
My name's Cameron. I've been addicted to using a cell phone for 3 years now.
Oh, I'm sure they have them.
Oh,
No, I'm sure.
mercy.
Yeah. No, it's not bad enough to where I need something like that. It is a distraction though, and it definitely pulls you away from the family.
It does.
Yeah, and that's not good.
Yeah.
And I say that, trust me, Cam, I'm right there with you. I struggle with it.
Even just like getting things done. Like
Mhm.
how many times have you? Well, it's 1 in the afternoon now, and I've done absolutely nothing because I got up and looked at my phone and haven't gotten off.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely. All right then, Aaron, what is your actual tip for this episode?
My actual tip would be to anybody who's got a machine shop, save yourself some hassle and back up your parameters.
Good
Fair.
one.
Do you want to share how to back them up? Oh, I suppose it can be different for every machine. So,
So there's the easy hack, and then there's the more complicated version. The easy hack is you take your phone out if you're not paying for it to be in a box, and just take pictures of every parameter screen. I mean, that's easy. And if
Yep.
lightning strikes and your motherboard gets fried, at least you can see the picture and enter it in. But the caveat is if you've got like an old CRT screen, double check your pictures because sometimes the picture will be on a scan and you'll miss some of it. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many people have no backups. The batteries go dead, motherboard dies, and we spend a bunch of extra time figuring it out because they could have just taken pictures.
Yeah.
I better take some pictures of mine today
Right.
with my RTC alarm.
That
Well,
yeah,
I was about to say, I want to add a little bit of a tip to your tip. Replace your damn batteries.
yes, I was just going to say that. Yep.
Replace the batteries while you're thinking about it. At least
Yep.
order them. So that way when they show up, you'll be like, oh, that's right. I need to replace those.
Yep.
The batteries are an easy no-brainer, but like the parameters
Yeah.
nobody thinks of.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, we've had, like when we've had machines moved around, when we got new machines and stuff, the techs that came to install the new machines, they would go through and create backups of every single machine and give them to me and save them themselves. So, because they're like, well, if something happens, I'll probably be out here working on it. So, yeah, that I don't have that because of my own proactiveness. Somebody was just smart enough to do it for me, and now I've got it all on our drive. So,
Part of why I haven't fixed my problem is I need to order the battery kit you sell.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't have, and I keep forgetting to order it. I'm gonna order it today.
Okay.
do it. Brad, what was I supposed to order? Like the last two podcasts, I'm like, hey, send me a link to. That's what it was. That's right.
That's there.
Okay.
It's still there.
Yep.
People are gonna watch these and they're gonna be like, nothing's moved in 2 weeks, but they're not gonna know that we recorded 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Wow, Aaron, thank you very much for being here. I mean, I've learned a lot. I'm sure the audience has. You've been a wonderful guest.
I want to have you on again and like really get into just like nitty gritty problems that people are having, and basically just do like a stump the repairman.
I was thinking about that last night. Like I was gonna come up with a list of codes and just do like a rapid fire. What is
Right.
this? What is this?
Isn't there isn't there like a radio show about cars where you call in with your car, your mechanical problem on your car?
Yeah.
Aaron should do something like that, or his dad should do something like that for machine.
Yeah, you have to be like a weekly call-in episode, like a rapid fire. You get like 5 minutes per person. We'll do this for an hour. Everybody call and I'm on the waiting line.
I'll start another venture to add to what I do.
There you go.
Yeah. That'll
Yeah,
be division
Don't
number
have enough
4.
going on.
I like the idea. I'm sitting in a podcast studio right now. We got 2 cameras, 2 mics. Like it's all built here for my dad and I to start doing something similar to that. But we work every week, so we've only filmed a few.
Yeah. That podcast would be full of tons of like little knowledge nuggets.
My father's
Absolutely.
been in this industry 50 years. He just turned 70, repairing CNC machines.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, knowledge of things he's
When-
seen change over the years.
Do you guys have a planned date for like a first episode, or just kind of when we get around to recording, then we'll do it?
We've got 2 recorded. I appreciate being with you guys on here. I've learned a lot. I want to get like 10 underfoot. And then once I've got 10 ready to go, then I feel like we've got some time because I want to do it weekly or bi-weekly. So
Yeah.
this
Smart
fall,
to have a whole bank of episodes already built up before you start releasing.
yeah, I've learned with YouTube and a little bit with the podcast stuff. I want to have a very good reason why I do something.
Mhm.
So like part of the reasoning behind doing this podcast with my dad is like, I just want to record the old stories from my dad and his industry knowledge for my sake and my son. And if other people
Yeah.
want to listen, like good for them. So I don't really care. I'm not really worried what anybody else thinks. Like I'm going to record a podcast with my dad. And if you want to listen, like join in. Like that's more
Oh, okay.
fun
Yeah.
than got to do this. And like, I thought about doing like sponsors or ads. And I'm just like, doesn't sound like fun. So
Right.
I just want to
Yeah.
do it for me.
Yep. That's
I-
smart.
I will say, Aaron, I know it's hard to make time. It's hard to prioritize that over work, but Do it.
Prioritize because Cam wants to listen.
That's right.
Right. My point is do it while you can, because one day you might not be able to.
That's definitely, part of why I'm doing it. I want to record it and have all
Mhm.
those stories.
Yeah. If you got any questions about podcast process or anything, just let us know.
Will do.
Absolutely. All right. Where can people find you, Aaron?
I'm on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. CNC replacement parts if you need, parts for common machines or, tools to repair it. We try to answer our phones and emails and texts. We've got that. So shoot us a message. I don't do a ton of Facebook messages, but Instagram, I'm on there once an hour usually. So just CNC repairman, CNC replacement parts. We're trying to be everywhere.
Awesome. All right, man. Once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. You guys are the reason I have a job. So I'm thankful for the machinists.
We'll keep breaking them.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll keep you in
If
work.
you're listening and you want to support Aaron, keep crashing your machine.
If you want to support Aaron, don't fix your post. That's all for this episode of the Impractical Machinist Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the Practical Machinist YouTube channel so you never miss an episode.
Also, please give us a like or a 5-star rating if you enjoyed this episode. Drop a comment down below of what you learned from us, or to share your own experience, and spread the word and let your fellow machinists know.
If you have any follow-up questions, you can DM us on Instagram, the Practical Machinist Forum, or on the Discord in our Instagram bios. Check out our Instagrams as well, at JobShopperTN, at Machining is Cool, and at Marvel Machining, and also Aaron's at CNC Repairman.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Keep those chips flying.